Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. The Saab is inside the garage. I have given it a quick wash outside, nothing too fancy because water and soap alone won't save much of this. And the reason why a wash won't work is that the entire paintwork is not good on this car. So although it most likely on the video looks rather fine, it is not, unfortunately. I can even see that I might have to remove the windscreen at some point. Anyway, that is not the point for today, but because today what I want to do is to just strip out the interior and take a look at that floor pan. Because I have had this car on the lift, and to be honest, I can't really remember because it's been a while. I know there's rust up front, but taking out the interior and the carpet will reveal the scale of rust repair needed on that part of the car at least. So that is what I want to do today. Let's get to work. I am so much in love with this car because it's the coolest car. I think I have said that before, but it's one of the coolest cars that I own. And it could really be nice to get this fixed up rather nicely because, as mentioned before, it's not possible to really do the Seaside Garage style on this because the paintwork is too far gone. It will rust so fast. Because it's all over the place. It's a problem. Paint problems like that, I could fix it with some paint and so on. But take a look at the paint a bit closer. It is just flaking off all over the place. And yeah, it's not something that I can just fix with a couple of cans of paint. It needs a respray. It's maybe right there, it's all right, but not down there, and it's just all over the place. So it needs a respray to become really good, this car. And if it gets a respray, it will be very nicely looking, so it would be suiting to make the rest of the car good looking. And also, it's going to be worth it. It's a popular car, to be honest. But let's clean it out and remove everything from the interior. And the first thing to come out is this. This is a dash without cracks. And if you know something about Saab 900 turbos or Saab 900s in general, it's rare to find these without cracks. The one that is in the car got at least, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cracks. So this is better. And then, as always, when I buy something new, I get really excited and start buying all the spare parts that I need. So even though I didn't really get any further with that, I got a lot of the parts needed to at least fix up the brakes and so on. I even got an inlet gasket because I need to get to the starter engine, and it would be easier to just remove the inlet. But to be honest, the more I look at this car, I think I'm gonna have to remove the engine actually to really fix the rust proper. And when that is done, it will also be a lot easier to do a lot of other stuff to that engine. I don't really know the health of this engine. I have done a compression test video and stuff, I think. And as far as I can remember, it was a bit low and not perfect, but it hasn't run for long. But it is running okay-ish. And the turbo is actually making some boost, but I have also looked into the turbo and it doesn't look very nice. So I don't really know what's going to be done about that, but I think it would be wise to take that engine out to really assess it and fix. But let's see. Right now I'm just focusing on one thing at a time, and that's the way I do projects, because otherwise I will be overwhelmed. So right now it's just a matter of fixing rust. Because if all the rust is fixed, then engine problems is not a big deal, to be honest. But if you look at all the problems at the same time, it can be a little bit demotivating. I think maybe I have taken the seats out once, because I did do some work to the ignition barrel at one point, and it is easier to access if I take it out. So I actually think I have had them out. I can remember now, because I was looking at that automatic heated system. So the seats has been out before, but I never took out the carpets. And now I'm just going to remove the seat, remove the carpets and all that, and store it somewhere. And then I won't put it back in until the rust is fixed. I will just have to move the car in and out, sitting on a beer crate or something like that. But let's take the seats out. Yeah, I have had these out before, because otherwise it would have been way harder to get them loose. In my experience, at least, especially with barn finds like these, which is not a barn find, it's a garden find. This has stood in a garden with a tarp over it for at least 5 or 10 years, I think. It's amazing that the headliner is not sacking in this, because they always are. I don't know if it's different in the two-door sedan versions. But normally it's sacking. This is rather fine. Oh, a parking ticket. I think I have shown you that before. It rings a bell at least. Wow, it was cheap to park back then. It was almost an hour for 5 kroners. I think it is. Last time I parked at the same parking space, it was around 40 kroners. So it's changed a bit. But where's the date? 04, 29th of December 04. So that's the front seats. I forgot how clean this car actually is inside. It's dirty, don't get me wrong. It's been standing in a garden for many years, but it's overall in pretty good condition, and I cannot wait. And I'm not going to do it now, because it's nice to have something fun at the end of a tough job. But cleaning this interior out with my vacuum cleaner, my carpet cleaner thingy, it's going to be a lot of fun, because I think I can save a lot of the old color and get that back in. This interior is really cool, but also not very dirt resistant because of the color. Another thing that I really hope to find is the steering wheel. This one got the wrong steering wheel. Because the Saab Commander was born with some very specific things, like the wooden interior and the gauges up here, the wooden gear knob, the color, the overall color inside of here. But the steering wheel is supposed to have the same color, and it's supposed to be a very, very cool looking steering wheel. I got a picture of it here from the brochure. Someone took this off. I was told by the guy I bought it from that the previous owner took it, most likely to put it into another Saab. I really hope to find that steering wheel. Scratch that, I actually found it. It just came up for sale a couple of days back on one of the Saab groups on Facebook. Brand new, completely brand new, amazing condition, and the seller wants 500 euros for it. I don't think it's crazy, but it's way too much for me. So I hope to find a used, maybe a little bit worn one or something like that. But it's going to be tough, that's for sure, because that's I think it's pretty rare. But that was the front seats. Let's try to remove the rear seats. I wonder how that is done. Oh, there's cat fur on this one. That means that hopefully no mice is in here. Okay, so that's the first glimpse of metal. And it is actually metal. I cannot really see if it's just dirt, but it could also be rust. Let's just remove the rest of it. So it's just held in place by a pin that I can draw out. But around that locking pin is a piece of plastic, most likely to avoid it rattling. That's very Saab-like, to have a rubber pipe with a metal pipe in it, so it doesn't rattle. These cars were just so much better than most other cars from that era when it comes to the interior quality, in my opinion. Oh, so this car has had a windscreen or window smashed at one point because there's glass all over the place. Oh, there we go. That's one side. There we go. So that's the seats done. So this is where we are at now, and it's very nice because I have now found my second backhoe set. I couldn't remember where I put it, but when I picked this car up, I had to change the fuel pump, and I did that at my storage facility, and yeah, I took that kit with me. I just forgot about it. But as you can see, the what's that? The partial shelf. It's called a hat shelf in Danish, but that is pretty bad. I wonder if maybe water has been coming in that area since it's that bad, or maybe that's the maybe the windscreen. I found those pieces of glass over there, among other things, by the way. Yeah, it's a bit red. But maybe the rear windscreen was smashed and water came onto the partial shelf and softened it. That could be the case, but it's not the end of the world. I think it would be pretty simple to make one myself, but or maybe I can find one, I don't know. But let's continue on removing all the stuff in the rear. Oh yeah, and the reason for the spare tire being right here is not normally something that is clever to do, but the paint is wrecked anyway. But the rear hatch won't latch. Therefore, when it stood outside and it was quite windy for the last week or so, it would just blow the hatch open all the time. So I think a lot of water actually came in. Not a big deal because we are removing everything now. But if water is in here, it is from within the last week, so it's not the end of the world. And then we got some pretty grubby looking mats. I don't know if these are original, but it's the right color, so they could be. If so, I would most likely try to fix them up. And then I would like to have a box to put all these parts in. Because I got a lot of good parts from a good friend in the Saab community. He had a lot of good stuff for this. So yeah, I got a lot of different stuff actually. Among other things, an entire wiring harness is in here. Could become useful. More wiring. And a mass airflow meter, which is very interesting because it's exactly the same as is on the Citroën CX GTI. So I have a spare for that one also now. They do share a lot of stuff, these Bosch injection cars from that era. And also the defective fuel pump. That's just going in the trash. And sensor plastic thingy rings for the rims. Very nice. What else do we have here? Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually bought a repair piece for at least one of the areas that I know needs fixing on this. This is the drive shaft tunnel up front. Now comes the time to take out this piece of wood that covers up the spare wheel well. And I have looked at it once because I have removed the spare wheel, or maybe that was actually on the car. I can't remember if I looked in here before. More tools and more rust Yeah, there is rust down here. Now let's go ahead and remove the side trim. So it looks pretty clean, but I am not expecting rust up here. That would be really bad. But I am expecting rust at this area. There's some sound deadening material, but then down here could be a good place to rust, and also down here. Oh wow! There's a very tiny harnessed home. It's not active. Huh, that's tiny. But other than that, it's pretty decent. I expect the rust to be down here, but I cannot see it myself, so I'm just going to put the camera down. I can see, at least in the viewfinder, that there is rust. I cannot really see how bad it is, but I presume it's not good. At least seems to have been fixed with some rubber. But yeah, to be expected also. What? What? So I'm just about to remove the trim piece that holds the carpet in. I just want to show you this. Let me just undo it. I think it could be the first time ever it's been off. But these pieces, it's metal. Almost always these are made of plastic, and almost always they will just explode when you try to remove them or put them back in. This being metal means that they will rust slightly, but other than that, it's just such a nice quality. This, it's amazing. Sound deadening material galore, which is nice in a car, but it can also hide so much stuff. But the quality of this material seems really nice still. So it's not been destroyed by water or anything. That's really good. But just like Mercedes, it's really difficult to really tell much from this, because there is this rubber material that is glued onto the floor. So it's a little bit difficult to see what's what. I can see rust, and that means that it's most likely worse than what I can see. Oh, there's a bit of water in here. I wonder where that came from. That area right there looks a bit scary. But and water is coming in from somewhere at least. Okay, so this is it. And it looks really clean and nice. But I do know from experience that this is not telling the complete story, because this material up here is glued to the metal, sound deadening material. And sometimes, especially on Mercedes, it can look completely perfect and actually be completely free of metal. And it's the case on some areas, at least in this. But it's a bit difficult to know and to be sure of before you really have taken a good look at it. There is something up here which looks to be surface, to be honest. Back here, I'm pretty sure we have rust holes in this area. Water it's wet in this area, and it's most likely coming from down below somehow. But I don't know. But all in all, the main structural beams in this at the rocker area looks pretty decent. There is some rust over there. There was the rust back here also, which is something at least. I need to remove that sound deadening material again to really know for sure. That is to be expected. Areas like that is to be expected in my experience. Yeah, other than that, it's actually looking pretty decent, and it has also gotten quite a lot of protection, it seems, because that is a thick layer of wax protection. That's nice. That's really nice. That's the reason why this car is alive. And as you can see, we've got a lot of glass pieces all over the place. And I have a feeling that it could be the rear because of that sacking partial shelf. Maybe it got shattered and got wet and then replaced, and then over time it will just soften up. That's my best theory, because other than that I don't know if there are any markings on the glass that I could check. Because it could also be this if it was a break-in. There is actually markings secured right there. I don't think I saw that on the other one. Nope, it's a different one. There is something. I think it will be very difficult to film because it's very vague. But this is just saying Saab Thenny something. And it's a different marking than on the other one, so maybe it's actually this one or the other one. It's definitely a Saab window, but it could be maybe the other one. Yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling it's this one, because that's the area with most glass pieces. Anyway, I will end this video here. Now I got pretty much everything out of the cabin. I'm gonna put that in storage because I don't want it to be messed up from welding and all that. It's a pretty nice interior. If I clean it up, it will become pretty nice. I actually want to make this car nice. I really want to get it painted. I don't think I can do that job myself. This could just be an awesome, usable, classic car. And because of the state it is in, it makes sense to just go that extra mile, I think. And also, it could be worth it. They are really climbing in price, these. I see rust over there as well. That was a bit interesting area. There's definitely some rust over there. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Remember, you can support me on Patreon. The support in there is highly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.